Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Moyo, and in today's video I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful top. As you can see, it has this rope at the back, so if you're interested, please watch till the end. And you can also decide to wear it like this, or you can decide to bring one shoulder down, and also you can decide to wear it as an off shoulder top. So whichever way you choose to wear it is just fine. So please make sure to watch this video to the end to learn how to make this top, both cutting and sewing. I'll see you in my next one. I'm going to be using taffeta material for this project, and I'm using 1 yard, which I got for 1,500 naira at Gariki Market, Abuja. I'm also going to be needing my ruler and my tape, scissors, all the basic stuff, and also my lining. So I'm going to be taking all my measurements on my lining because the taffeta material is not that stable. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to take my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5 inches. Then I'm going to be subtracting 2.5 inches from that because we are doing like an off shoulder top. Once I subtract 2.5, I'm going to have 5 inches left. So I'm just going to confirm my measurement over there, and I'm going to come down a little bit and mark the same 5 inches that I have on top of that. I'm just going to mark that again, like you can see. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to connect these points. Remember that I told you I'm making an off shoulder top, so I'm going to place my tape roll on the beginning of my fabric like this. I'm going to place it on the 5-inch mark, okay, because I want it to be off by 5 inches. So I'm going to assume that we're taking 5 inches off, so it is on that 5-inch mark that I'm placing it on. Then I'm going to mark my armhole measurement, which I want to be 8 inches. The way I get this is my actual back measurement plus ½ inch. So that is how I get my armhole depth to be 8 inches. So I'm just going to extend that, like you can see. Once I'm done with that, I'm still going to maintain the 5 shoulder off that I told you earlier. Then I'm going to be marking my shoulder to waist. My actual shoulder to waist is 15.5 inches, but I'm going to be adding ½ inch for allowance, so that is going to make it 16 inches. So I'm just going to extend that. Then also I'm going to measure the length of my top. The length that I have here is 24.5 and it is perfect for me. Then I'm just going to go ahead and label my points to help you guys understand what I am doing. On my armhole line, I'm going to be taking my bust divided by 4, which is 8.5, and I'm also going to be adding 1.5 inch for seam allowance. Then I'm also going to come over to the waist and I'm going to mark my waist to be 28 inches instead of 27. I want a little bit of ease. Then I'm also going to be adding 1.5 for seam allowance as well. Then I'm going to be coming to the base of my top and I'm going to mark 3 inches. This is how wide my center is going to be. Then once I'm done with this, I'm going to grab my curve, then I'm going to connect my points. Once I'm done, I'm also going to draw my armhole curve. Then I'm going to be adding ½ inch for allowance on my waist to the top length area, just for sewing. Once I'm done with this, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out my drawings that we just made. The next thing to do is to grab another fabric for our back. So I grabbed this little piece of fabric which was a little bigger than what I used for my front. Then I created extra allowance for my zipper area because I want a zip at the back of this. And I'm just going to be marking this straight line because this is where I want my zipper to stay, okay? Once I'm done with this, I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm just going to trace out the exact same thing that we have on our front pattern. I'm just going to be cutting it out. Also, because I don't want my fabric to be peeping out when I'm done sewing, I'm just going to trim. Like you guys can see, this part is not necessary, but it's good because it will give your work this finished look that is, neat. Now guys, if I go ahead and open the front part of my lining, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so don't be scared. If you have something like this, you're on the right path. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut it on my fabric. That's my taffeta fabric. Now, if you're going to be using only 1 yard of material, then you have to be very, very careful when you're cutting it out, because you cannot afford to waste anything. The ideal would have been maybe 1.5, but to still waste. So if you're like size 10 up, then you definitely need at least 1.5, so that you will not manage your material so much. But if you're a size 6, size 8, you can still manage it. So you guys should pay attention to how I am going to cut. Like I said, there is zero room for wastage. So I placed my lining on my material like this. Then I went ahead to cut the back piece. Also, when it's time to cut the front piece, you can see how I'm gently folding. Then I am also going to cut again as well. So guys, that is all about cutting the body of my top. So I'm just going to fold my selvage hem into 2, and I'm going to fold the rest into 2 again. That's how I'm cutting my sleeve. Then I'm going to trim off the excess that you can see right here. I want my sleeves to be short because obviously that's what we can do with what we have, right? So I'm going to grab my front piece. This is going to serve as my reference, but before that, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to slit this open because I want 2 sleeves, right? So I'm just going to grab my front piece and I'm going to place it on my material like you guys can see. Then I'm assuming that part is the part where I fold for my elastic to enter, because yes, I'm still going to have elastic both on top and below my sleeve. So I just went ahead to cut it out. Then guys, this is literally all we have left, and I want 2 ropes at the back of my top. So I'm just going to fold this into 2 and fold it into 2 again. And once I'm done, I'm going to fold it into 2 again. So this is like how wide my rope is going to be at the end of the day. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the excess that you can see. So my scissors ran into an issue here. I had to change my scissors. So guys, I'm just going to go ahead and slit the sides of these ropes to open, because at the end of the day I want like 4 ropes so that I can join 2 together, and then I'm going to get 2 long ropes. Do you understand? Another very important step when you are doing your cutting is to take 1 inch away from the base of your top. This will help your lining not to stick out of your main fabric when you are finally done sewing. So I always do this step. Make sure you do it for this project as well. So once I'm done marking that 1 inch, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to trim that out. So guys, remember that we have 4 ropes now, and I'm just going to grab 2 of the ropes and I'm going to join them together. I'm going to go over to my sewing machine to join them. Once I'm back, I'm going to open it up. Then I'm going to fold it on the sides like you guys can see. Then I'm going to go ahead and sew it along this new line. Once I'm done, I'm going to turn it over to the right side and iron it. Ironing is important. That is what will give me my nice ropes. We are done sewing our ropes, and this is what we have. Next, we are going to move on to our top. Now I'm going to start with the front part of my top, and I'm going to align the lining with the taffeta, okay? But when you're doing this, make sure you move the lining close to the top of the blouse, right? I'm going to place the lining for the back part of my top. I'm going to place the taffeta and the lining together. Then I'm going to go ahead and sew the top and the bottom of my top together. Once I'm done with this is what I have. You want to make sure that the top and the lining align properly, okay? So the top should just be okay, but the down part, your main fabric should actually be under while your lining is inside. If you can see what I did here, so that way there is no way your lining is going to peep out. Once you are done with that, you want to go ahead and sew the sides of your top. Those sides that we don't want to be out. When we are done, you're going to go ahead and sew them. And these are the sides that we're sewing, okay? So you're not going to touch the armhole area. Also for the back, I'm going to do the exact same thing that we did for the front, and when it's time for me to turn my material over, I'm going to use my scissors to just notch those points that we sewed, because I want the turning to come out very, very easy and smooth. So I'm just going to give it small cuts like you can see, then I'm going to go ahead and turn it. So whatever step you do for the front, make sure you do that for the back as well. So when you are turning both your front and your back, you should pay attention to all these parts that have sharp edges, because you want to ensure that they come out well. And if you can't use your fingers, then go ahead and use your scissors to push them out. You guys, can you see the change that we have in just 2 seconds? Like, it is the ironing. So the more you iron your fabric, the better it comes out. If you have dry iron, then make sure you sprinkle water on your fabric and iron it. That is the best way you're going to get a finish that is very, very neat. So you can see what I have. So I'm just going to place the back parts together like this, and I'm going to secure it with a pin, with pins actually. So I'm going to secure this with pins. Then I'm going to take 1 inch for my zipper allowance. That is where my zipper is going to enter. So I'm just going to mark 1 inch like you guys can see. Then I'm going to draw a straight line. Once I'm done with that, I am going to head over to the sewing machine and sew with a very loose stitch, so that it can be easy for me to insert my zipper when I am ready. Again guys, it is important to iron your seam open. You can see that I ironed mine, so when we are ready to insert our zipper, it will be easy. I'm just going to turn this over, and then it's time to join both our back and our front. So I'm going to place the ropes that we made earlier. If you remember, we turned our rope over, so I'm going to place my ropes on the back part. I'm going to ensure that the part that where I sewed the rope is sealed, okay? I'm going to ensure that it's secure. So I'm just going to place my rope like this. Then the other one as well, I'm going to place it on my back. I'm going to place the other rope on the back. I'm going to secure the rope to the back part using pins, because I don't want it to fall off when I am sewing. So I'm just going to secure that with pins. Then I'm going to grab the front part and just lay it on the back part of our top. And I'm also going to secure this with pins as well. So guys, it's time to shape my top, and I'm going to take what I have here. So what I need is 34 divided by 2, which is 17. I marked that. Then whatever is left, I'm going to mark it. Okay, I think I had 2 inches, so I'm going to divide 2 inches by 2. Then I'm going to have 1. So if I divide what I have, that's how I'm going to get what I'm taking. So I'm going to take that on this side, and I'm going to take it on the other side as well. Then I'm also going to come to the waist area, and I'm going to take what I have there. What I need is 14 inches, right? So I'm going to take the remaining measurements, and whatever I have there, I'm going to mark on this side, and I'm also marking on the other side as well. So once I'm done guys, it's time to connect. So look at the way I'm connecting. I'm just going to connect with a straight line on this side, and I'm also going to connect with a straight line on the other side. So I made a little mistake, and I ended up correcting myself. I was supposed to mark on the other line. So it's that simple guys. Once you are done with this, go over to your sewing machine and sew with a straight stitch. If I turn my top over to the other side, this is what it will look like, and this is absolutely gorgeous. Also, I can decide to tie my ropes now, but yes, let's move on to sewing the sleeves. So guys, this is the sleeve that we already cut. So all I did was to fold the top of my sleeve by about 1 inch, and also the down part I folded it as well. You have to fold that there will be room enough for your elastic band to enter. Next, I'm going to use my safety pin and my elastic rubber, the really tiny one, and I'm going to be passing it into the space that we just made. Now when you pass your elastic band into the top, make sure that you secure the end of the elastic and the fabric we're using. Make sure you use a pin to secure, so that the elastic does not go all the way in once you pull it. So you're just going to go ahead and draw the elastic to the other side of the band that we have sewn, and we're also going to repeat this step for the down part of our sleeves. So we're going to do this for both sides of each sleeves for the 2 sleeves that we have. Please guys, note that the length of the elastic you are using is totally dependent on how wide your arm is. For example, my shoulder to the point where my top is starting is about 5 inches, so I used about 8 inches of elastic so that when it stretches it's going to be okay. And for the arm part, I used about 12 inches or so. So if you're just going to adjust your elastic based on how big you are or how you want your elastic to be tight. We are done inserting the elastic rubber, and this is what we have. So I'm just going to grab the main top and I am going to insert the sleeves, like you guys can see, on both sides of the armhole. I'm going to insert them like that. Then I'm going to finish up the remaining part of the sleeve. Okay, just make it nice and smooth. And guys, we're done with the sewing tutorial. So if I flip it over, this is what it's going to look like. I'm just going to go ahead and make a bow tie at the back. If you don't know how to tie a bow, then definitely look up how to tie a good bow on YouTube. And guys, that is all about making this top. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful, please make sure to leave me a huge thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also comment if you'll be trying this out and where you'll be wearing it to. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to tag me on Instagram if you end up recreating this. I would love to see your creations. Thank you for watching again. Bye guys.